Alright guys, and welcome back to Star Wars Review. Recently with Mandalorian Season 2, starting up, we're already like 3 episodes in when I'm recording this, but in the first episode, titled Chapter 9, The Marshal, we saw a character named Cobb Vanth, who's played by Timothy Oliphant, and he was wearing Boba Fett's old armor, but, that wasn't the first time we saw Vanth. We kind of first introduced to him in the 2015 novel Aftermath, and then he later reappeared in its 2 sequels, Aftermath Life Dead and Aftermath Empire's End. So, I want to do a video talking about, his story in those novels and, how it compares and, talking about the future of Cobb Vanth when if he were to appear in another story sometime down the road. But his story in the novels, he's not a big character in those novels. There's these interlude chapters were in the books, chapters were in between the main chapters would tell smaller stories. I'll be honest, I haven't read any of the 3 Aftermath novels. Haven't actually fully read them. The only things I've read are the Cobb Vanth chapters. So yeah, but there's 1 in each novel, so 3 in total. Not a whole lot of stuff, but some stuff. So yeah, but first talking about this chapter from the 2015 novel Aftermath. So we see this man named Adwin Chara in Sandcrawler trying to buy stuff off the Jawas for his boss. He works for him, but it's not working. Can't get the Jawas allowed him to look at the stuff in the back. But then Cobb Vanth shows up and talks to Jawas and asks Adwin Chara to into the back room to look at stuff. And then they come across a box with some Mandalorian armor in it, which Chara tries to take, but Vanth doesn't let him. And then it's revealed that Vanth knows Chara is a part of this mining guild called the Red Key Raiders, who are giving Vanth trouble at Mos Pelgo. So Vanth shoots Chara in the knees, but leaves him alive and says, so he can live to tell the tale and, tell his boss and whatnot. So yeah, this, obviously in the episode of The Mandalorian, what we see, what Vanth at least tells Din Djarin is that, after the Battle of Endor, this mining guild came into Mos Pelgo and took over, and Vanth, left with the ice cream maker. I can't think of the in-universe name of it. Heads to a Sandcrawler and sees Boba Fett's armor up on the wall and buys it off the Jawas, and then heads back to Mos Pelgo and runs the mining guild out of town. But obviously this story shows him acquiring the armor differently. But I think both stories could still happen. He just bought the gear and packed it up in a box, and then I went to go take a piss or something, and came back, and then this story happened. Yeah, it makes enough sense. So yeah, but then in the sequel, Aftermath Life Debt, you see story of Cobb Vanth and a female Twi'lek named Issa Orr, who's with Vanth, come across Malakili, who was the Beastmaster guy seen in Return of the Jedi at Jabba's palace. The Rancor, he's the guy crying about the Rancor dying. But Malakili's wandering around Tatooine, and he gets ambushed by some Red Key Raiders, and Vanth and lady Issa Orr come and save Malakili, and offer him a job to help teach a young Hutt Vanth and the others found, which Malakili agrees to. Also in that story, there's mention of the Great Pit of Carcoon, the Sarlacc messed up by the debris of the Jabba's sail barge, so interesting there. But then finally in Aftermath of Empire's End, we see the leader of the Red Keylanders named Lorgan Movellin raid Freetown / Mos Pelgo and take Cobb Vanth hostage and whatnot. Says he's gonna do all this stuff with the Hutt and whatnot. But then some Tusken Raiders come to the rescue and save Vanth and Freetown. And then Movellin realizes that Tusken Raiders are only going after Red Key Raiders and not the citizens of Freetown, which Vanth reveals that he made a deal with the Tuskens that as long as he gives the Tuskens water and whatnot, and they would help them here and then leave them alone, which I'll talk about that more in a moment. But and then Vanth kind of tortures Movellin a little, says he's gonna carve like a message in his face or something like that. I don't know why it didn't, like, when Vanth starts to go do it, that's when the chapter ends, so, yeah. But, this story is the one that has the biggest inconsistency, mainly with the Tusken Raiders, because in this story, it's said that Vanth made a deal with the Tuskens to leave them alone, but, in The Mandalorian, we see that the residents of Vanth, himself don't really like the Tuskens, and there's still conflict between them. I guess, you could say that the Tuskens maybe betrayed them or something like that, so that's why they're, kind of don't like them in The Mandalorian, but, Also, in The Mandalorian, we don't know what happened to the Hutt or Malakili. They were in the story in the Empire's End, but what it is, to be honest, I really don't care about the inconsistencies, and because I like the story we saw in The Mandalorian. I liked Timothy Oliphant as Cobb Vanth more than the Cobb Vanth we saw in the Aftermath trilogy. I still enjoyed the stories, but I liked what we saw in The Mandalorian a lot more. And, obviously what we see in The Mandalorian simplifies it a lot more than what, from these stories. Like, because The Mandalorian said that was a mining guild that took over Mos Pelgo. But, there's the Red Key Raiders, which in the Aftermath books are said to be, a mining guild or acting like they're a mining guild. So, simplifying there, because the mining guild we saw in The Mandalorian is most likely the Red Key Raiders. But, and obviously with the Tusken Raider stuff, they kind of took, what we saw in the Empire's End and expanded upon it and obviously put it in differently and obviously much technically later in the timeline, but, it really doesn't bother me there with the inconsistencies, but, who knows, maybe someday we'll get another Cobb Vanth story, either, a novel taking, what we saw in The Mandalorian and the Aftermath trilogy, combining it together or fleshing it out, adding more depth, to it, and maybe adding stuff from even before that for Cobb Vanth and whatnot, just adding more to him and maybe, quote unquote, fixing some of the inconsistencies, I guess, but, the inconsistencies, like I said, don't bother me. It's it's not hard to look past, and also I don't really care too much, but yeah, hopefully we do see more of Cobb Vanth. Like I said, either a novel or something like that, or hopefully what I'm really hoping for is see him in a later episode of The Mandalorian with Timothy Oliphant returning as Cobb Vanth. I really liked him as Cobb Vanth. I'd be really for seeing him again. Hopefully, it's not like Boba Fett going after him and killing him or something like that. But I definitely like to see that. Heck, I would even, there's been rumors of a Boba Fett miniseries. Honestly be more for a Cobb Vanth miniseries more than Boba Fett. But yeah, hopefully we do see more of Cobb Vanth. But as of right now, who knows? So yeah, you could check out my review of Chapter 9, The Marshal, and, all the other Mandalorian Season 2 and Season 1 videos I've done. I'll be doing more videos like this on Season 2. There's a few more I want to do, talking about something about the episode more in depth than I did in the review. So yeah, you can check those out when those go up. But yeah, I did say in Chapter 9 review I wanted to do a breakdown of the episodes, but when I was writing this one out, mainly for Chapter 9, I mainly just wanted to talk about what I wanted to talk about in this video. So it kind of just decided, okay, I'm just gonna do random videos on the topics I actually want to talk about, because there's a lot of stuff where it's like, there's not really much to add, but I don't really care to say too much on it. So yeah, that's all I'll just be doing. But anyways, check out all the stuff I do, and you can subscribe to see it. But when it goes up. But for now, I've been Star Wars, catch you guys in the next one.
Show me the one who's safe